talk about Dan Lanning's Oregon. If you watched our second year coaches video or videos plural, you know that this show's pretty high on Dan Lanning. And well, yeah, they lost some guys last year, but is there a reason to believe that they'll be better? Yeah, sure. Kenny Dillingham's over now coaching at Arizona State, bringing a guy like Will Stein, who's pretty young, had some success, especially throwing the ball. I don't know. What do you think? What say you about the 2023 season of the Oregon Ducks?
Yeah, I think Kenny Dillingham is definitely a big loss. We saw how productive, quarterbacks have been under him recently. The best thing for Bo Nix's career was to come and find Kenny Dillingham here at Oregon. That was a big get, though, bringing Bo Nix back. I mean, everyone, you see the Heisman, Bo for Heisman in New York, all the signs. They got a lot of talent offensively. Bucky Irving's a guy I know we're both super high on him. We've been high on him since in high school. Troy Franklin, wide receiver. Trayshawn Holden is kind of, I think he's super meh from Alabama, but he's a fine guy. Tez Johnson is kind of a super, super speedy guy. And then even freshmen like, Jerion Dickey's come in, Gary Bryant from USC. It's a pretty talented group for sure. I don't know. A 9.5 is a big number. It's a super big number for me. I think with the schedule at Texas Tech is not a cakewalk at all. I know we're both super high on Texas Tech and the future of Joe McGuire's program. Lubbock is not an easy place to play in, especially in early September. You have at Washington and you have at Utah, and then you finish with USC in week 11, and then Oregon, the Civil War, right? You have maybe the last Civil War ever played. Not ever played, but the last Civil War with Oregon State and Oregon in the Pac-12. I almost lean the under. I love this team. I love a lot of the teams at the top of the Pac-12, but that's just the problem. I think they're going to eat each other up. I think they're going to cost the Pac-12 a playoff berth, in its final year, because everyone's going to be 10-2 or 9-3 or whatever it is. Someone has to lose, between Washington and Utah and USC, Oregon. You throw Oregon State, and their teams have to lose, and they all kind of play each other for the most part, with the exception of UCLA, kind of gets a break. But with Oregon, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I do think if they look for this line, I actually lean over. I lean over 9.5. What's keeping me away from this, right, is a lot of turnover on the offensive line. I think this offensive line could still be good. An issue though, right? You played a pretty good team in Texas Tech on the road week 2, right? So this team doesn't have a whole lot of time to kind of mesh together, right? You're gonna need to be cooking against Texas Tech. I think that's a good team, and that place is gonna be absolutely bouncing. If you don't think Lubbock is gonna be the entire city of Lubbock is gonna be at that game. It's gonna be sold out. It's gonna be crazy. And I think breaking in an entire new offensive line could lead to some question marks against the Texas Tech team. But then after that, though, you get quite a bit of time to really get that offensive line set to where you want it to be for like real legit games, because you got Hawaii, Colorado, Stanford, right? Those are games you can manage without great offensive line play. And then you get a bye. And then that's when you go into that stretch. That's pretty tough. So schedule dynamic, it hurts them, but also doesn't hurt them, right? Like if they squeak out of that Texas Tech game, I think this goes over for sure. Yeah, so I do like this over. I'm not going to take it though. And another reason why you would take a chance in the over maybe is I do think this defense got better. Look, they very clearly prioritized fixing the secondary in the offseason. As you can see, all that red on that defense right there. Yeah, that was Oregon. It was not a very good defense last year in terms of the secondary. Kyrie Jackson, you get him, Tashim Johnson, Evan Williams, Nico Reed, Cole Martin as a true freshman. Which, by the way, Cole Martin.
Yeah.
I think that's a guy that people were not talking about before spring, and I think people are now starting to talk about him. They're going to find a way to get him on the field. I don't know, probably nickel, but we'll see how he actually gets on the field. But he's been playing out of his mind. But I think Dan Lanning very clearly knew what he needed to do, and they went out. They had number 9th rated transfer portal class in the country. It's pretty good. And look, Tosh Lupoi, I think if he gets the right pieces, I think he's going to do fine defensively. I think he's a pretty decent defensive coordinator. Jordan Birch is a guy that they also got as well.
Yeah.
Johnny Bones is a really good true freshman that might get some playing time as well in that rotation. Uh, so I think this could be a really good team. This could be a really, really, really good team. If Bo Nix has another year and Will Stein can really figure it out again with Bo Nix, like the way that Kenny Dillingham was really able to open up the game, especially with his talent on the offensive side of the ball at your skill positions. Terrence Ferguson's like a good tight end. Gosh, this is a really good team. So I will not be taking the over though.
Yeah, I think they might even be better than last year. But like I said, the schedule is brutal. I think the Pac-12 in general, even like the middle of the Pac-12 gets substantially better with, I think Washington State gets better. I think Arizona gets a little bit better, even though they don't play Arizona. But the only nice thing, if you're an Oregon fan or if you're Oregon, looking at the back half of the schedule is brutal. But then again, you don't have like all your big games, Oregon State, USC, Utah, Washington. It's all split up, right? It's never back to back. It's never back to back road games, right? Which is nice. So I think it's pretty bad. It's pretty tough schedule at the back half, but it's not as bad as it could have been. Obviously, I think at linebacker, you lose Noah Sewell to the NFL with the Chicago Bears now, and he definitely was a really good athlete, good leader on the team. Was he as good as he probably was talked about it? I don't know. I think Justin Jacobs from Iowa is a really interesting player. I know a lot of teams are really high on him, and we obviously know Iowa's linebackers are always pretty damn good. Like I said, defensive line, I think, Brandon Dorlus, it's kind of beast for him. And then even Papo, it's Avamave, right? He returns from injury. He was a former All Pac-12 kind of guy. So hopefully he's back to full strength there. Yeah, I think this team's going to be better. I could totally see them being 12-0. Honestly, I think the best case scenario is 12-0 for this team, but I also see 8-4, right? And that definitely scares me. Taking an over at 9.5, and honestly, behind Bo Nix, I mean, Ty Thompson, right? Or he's right? Yeah, Ty Thornton or whatever the name is. Ty Thompson.
Ty Thompson.
He's been there forever. It seems like they've been kind of waiting for him, take the next step as a former 5-star guy. I don't know if he's quite ready yet behind Bo Nix. I think there's a reason why they wanted Bo Nix to come back so badly. Obviously, Bo Nix is a good player. True freshman guy. Season. Yeah, but I think that's why I'm not going to, put any money on the over there. But definitely a really good team. Real good job by Dan Lanning. Obviously, moving to the Big 12, the Big 10 next year. And after that, they're going to be pretty competitive.
So did you lean over?
I lean the under.
Oh, you lean under. Oh,
I just think, I like the team. I love the team. The schedule.
Right.
Scares me.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.